I don't know if you ever saw on TMZ the big headline, Dave Chappelle, drunk on stage in Detroit. Well, if you saw it, I wasn't drunk. I had smoked some reefer with some rappers. Yeah. I don't know if you know anything about hanging out with rappers, but their weed is very strong. Stronger than what I was accustomed to. The article goes on to say I was booed off stage, which is also incorrect. I was booed. I did not leave. It was the wrong bump. 2 puffs of weed, that's all it was. 2 puffs. I never had that happen when I take 2 puffs of weed. I looked at the guy next to me, I was like, I'm gonna bomb, I can feel it. And that guy called my name, Dave Chappelle. He was like, you know, normally when you do a comedy show, you guys don't know what it looks like up here, but he's looking up at you like, wow! That's how the show started. It didn't take long for the faces to switch up, like, what the f***? They started looking amongst themselves. So I knew I wasn't doing good. I don't remember what I was saying.
Help me!
It just took one person to break the ice. It's a black lady with a Ford Motor shirt on. She stood up suddenly. F*** you, Dave Chappelle. I said, excuse me? She said, I worked all week for this and this show sucks. And in a weird act of racial harmony, a conservative white guy stood up and backed her up. Yeah! The whole crowd band together and started chanting, we want our money back. We want our money back. I said, oh, shit. I snapped out of it. Good people of Detroit, hear me. Hear me now. You will never get your fucking money back.
Got him! Got him!
I said, I'm like Evel Knievel. I get paid for the attempt. I didn't promise this shit would be good. Boo, they said, you. This went on for a long time. And then after the show, I felt so bad, I took half of the money from the show, thousands of dollars. I said, I'm gonna give this to charity. You know what I did? I bought $25,000 worth of bubble gum and drove around Detroit and handed it out to the homeless so they could chew it and still be hungry. I was very mad at Detroit that night because not only did I bomb, I had to go back to the very same room the next night and do it all over again. Fucking nightmare. That would be like if you were having sex with a woman and for some reason, this would never happen, but for some reason, she had a mouse trap in her. You get caught in the trap. And then you got to fuck her again tomorrow night. I'd still do it, but, you know, I'd be careful the next time. The old mouse trap in the trick, eh? Fool me once. And I wanted to give up sometimes. I almost did give up, but then right before I gave up, I decided not to. But I made the call. They answered the phone. Hello? Dancing with the Stars. I said, not yet. Not yet. Oh, if you see me on that, it's over. Trust me. My spirit is broken. If you see me waiting for them judges, getting critiqued on my cha-cha.
What they didn't understand is that we were supporting him with our silence. Because we understood that this nigga was clearly lying. I'm just afraid of being attacked. Happens to the best of us. Don't ever forget what happened to that French actor. You know what I'm talking about? Juicy Smouillet. He's a very famous French actor. Y'all never heard of Juicy Smouillet? Juicy Smouillet is an actor from France. And he became famous on a show called Empire. One night, He was in Chicago late at night and was the victim he was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. You see, Juicy Smouye is gay and he is black, not just French. Oh, it was a crazy story. Apparently, when he was walking down the street late at night, two white men came out of the shadows with MAGA hats on, beat him up, put some bleach on him, and ran off into the night.
Bye, have a great time.
International news. And everybody was furious, especially in Hollywood. It's all over everybody's Twitter feed and Instagram page. Justice for Juicy and all this shit. The whole country was up in arms. It was talking about it all the time on the news. And for some reason, African Americans, we were like oddly quiet. We were so quiet about this shit that the gay community started accusing African American community of being homophobic for not supporting him. What they didn't understand is that we were supporting him with our silence. Because we understood that this nigga was clearly lying. None of these details added up at all. He said he's walking down the street in Chicago and white dudes come up to him and say, "Hey man, aren't you that from Empire?" Does that sound like how white people talk? I know white people, they don't talk like that. They would never say that. It sounds like something that I would say. If you're racist and homophobic, you're not even gonna know who this nigga is. You can't watch Empire. Can you imagine if you was a police veteran taking this kid's police report? Okay, Mr. Smouye, please tell me what happened. All right, 2 a.m. You left the house at 2 a.m. It's minus 16 degrees. All right. You were walking. All right. And where were you going? Subway. Sandwiches? That's when the men approached you? Did you see them? Do you have any? Okay, what they have on? MAGA hats. MAGA hats on in Chicago. Excuse me one second, Mr. Smouye. Frank, come here for a second. Find out where Kanye West was last night.
Give this guy a hug right here.
I mean, really, y'all, what the fuck are we doing? I can't live in this new world you're proposing. And meanwhile, while we're worrying about all this other shit, look at what's happening. They just killed another 12 people in a mass shooting in Virginia Beach. This is happening every week. It happens so much, I don't care anymore. I came home early from the road. I had a $12,000 suit on because life's been going good. And I got home early and dinner was cooking. You ever come home when dinner's cooking? Doesn't that smell good? And my son saw me and he was like, "Dad's home." And he got up from the table and ran over to give me a hug, but he had chicken grease all over his face. So I stiffed on him like, yo, my man. Wash these threads, son. This is an expensive suit. I don't want you to get the chicken grease all over me. And he was like, "What the chicken grease? Dad, this is duck." A tear came out of my eyes. I never dreamt I'd do so well in life that I'd raise a nigga with duck grease all over his face. And we sat down, we just talked about everything. I was telling my wife about how my shows were going, and I told her my trans jokes, and she was like, oh, I hate that joke. And you know why she hates the joke? Because she's Asian. Hey, everybody, I'm Chinese!
That's racist!
What? This is how I feel inside. But you know what I mean? I don't make that face at the house unless we're really fighting. And me and her, like, we weren't arguing, but you know what I mean? She was just like, you need to stop doing that. And then I tried to change the subject. I go, how is school going, boys? And my sons tell me, well, we didn't have school today, technically. I'm like, well, what's going on? He said, well, there was like a school shooting drill. I never heard of this. You know what this is? They have drills that they make kids do where they practice what to do if somebody comes to shoot up their school. I'd never heard that before. I was like, what the f? Then I had to tell my sons the truth. I didn't want to tell them this shit. Son, listen to me. F that drill. If somebody comes to your school and wants to shoot it up, I'm just gonna be honest with you. You probably gonna get shot. I'm just being real. You got a famous dad. I talk a lot of shit. They're gonna be gunning for you, little buddy. Just stay low and run in a zigzag pattern and don't try to save anybody, son. Do you understand me? Why would you have kids rehearse for something they have no control over? All you're doing is training these kids to worry. It's the stupidest drill I've ever heard of. And while you're in there training them during these drills, well, aren't you training the shooter too? This nigga's in here listening and learning like the other kids. Sitting in the back. Where are we supposed to meet? If you're a parent, it is terrifying. It is real scary. All the parents is looking at each other crazy. Because we know as parents that one of us is raising the shooter. Just don't know which one of us it is. All we know for sure is that if you're a white parent, the chances that it's you is exponentially higher than the rest of us. And shooting up school is a white kid's game. Crazy, you know, I hated school too. It never occurred to me. Kill everybody in school? It's fucking crazy. Just do what I did. Try some things. Have you skipped school? Just skip school. Take a walk and meet some other kids. Try drugs. Have you tried drugs? I might. If you're in a group that I made fun of, then just know that I probably will only make fun of you if I see myself in you. I make fun of poor white people because I was once poor. And I know that the only difference between a poor black person and a poor white person is that a poor white person feels like it's not supposed to be happening to them. Everything else is the same. I know what it's like to have a cold house. I wasn't allowed to touch the thermostat growing up without asking my father. And it would be freezing in the house. I'd be like, Dad, please, can I please just turn the heat up to like, I don't know, 32? It's really cold. And my dad would say, just put more clothes on, David. Got all three of my outfits on. When you look at me, I'm freezing up here. And he said, just don't think about how cold you are, David. And I said this, I didn't say it to him, but I said it in front of him so he could hear it. I said, I fucking hate being poor. And my dad got really upset. He didn't scream or holler, that wasn't his way. He just threw his newspaper on the floor and he said, David, 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 you are not poor. He said, poor is a mentality. He said it's a mentality that very few people ever recover from. Don't you forget it, son. you are broke. He said, these are just financial circumstances that I hope to overcome one day very soon. And I said, well, Dad, whatever you want to call this, it's wildly uncomfortable.
6 months later.
There was a big dance coming up in the middle school. I was 12 years old. I said, Dad, can I go to the dance? He said, of course you can go to the dance. I want you to get out and meet some more kids. I said, great. It costs $3 to get in. And my dad said, ooh. Sorry, son, I don't have it. I was like, what the fuck? You don't have $3? Well, then how are we alive, Dad? Wish I found some way out of this hell. I'd do anything to not be poor. I will show Michael Jackson my anus if I get a chance. I just gotta get out of this hell. Dad said, if you want to go to the dance bad enough, I'll tell you what, there's some money in the change jar, get the money from there. I was 12 years old, that's what I did. I showed up to the dance early. There's a long line of kids waiting behind me while I'm at the door trying to count out 300 pennies to get inside. I will never forget this shit as long as I can live. Oh man, you know, if you've been poor, you know what that feels like. You ashamed all the time. Feels like it's your fault. And all them kids was laughing, ha, ha, ha. Look how poor Dave Chappelle is. Like when I think back at it, that's really the only time in my life that I ever thought to myself, I should kill everybody at school. You know what I mean? Stop worshiping celebrities so much. Just don't listen, don't pay attention. I remember right around September 11th, Ja Rule was on MTV. That's what they said. We got Ja Rule on the phone. Let's see what Ja's thoughts are on this tragedy. Who gives a f what Ja Rule thinks at a time like this? This is ridiculous. I don't want to dance. I'm scared to death. I want some answers that Ja Rule might not have right now. You think when bad shit happens to me, I'll be in the crib like, oh my God, this is terrible. Could somebody please find Ja Rule, get hold of this motherfucker so I can make sense of all this. Where is Ja? Add me Ja Rule. I don't even know why people listen to me. I'll say anything. I've done commercials for Coke and Pepsi. I don't give a what comes out of my mouth. I just say what it takes. Whatever it takes, that's what I'm saying. If you want to know the truth, can't even taste the difference. Surprise! All I know was Pepsi paid me most recently, so tastes better. It's pretty much how the game goes. Society's changing rapidly. Can't smoke indoors. What the f was that all about? I got kicked out of titty bar for smoking. No, that shit was ridiculous. So the stripper did it. The stripper came up like, your smoking is a health risk for me. I don't want to work in this kind of environment. Okay. Spit you have your gonorrhea infested in my face. You started it. And they threw me out. It's the dirtiest place I've ever been thrown out of. And just to give you an idea of what I mean by dirty, lap dances at this place, $3. It's f***ing disgusting. And at the same time, who could pass up a sale, son? It was $3. Of course I did it. It's only 12 quarters. Said, I'll break a 5 for that. I've never seen somebody work this hard for $3. This lady must have been a throwback to the Great Depression. She was all over me. It's the first time I ever told a stripper to get off me. All right. Yeah, thank you very much, miss. Thank you. That'll be all. That's enough. Hey, get off of me. Whatever happened to lipstick on the collar, lady? I have a streak on the middle of my shirt. How the f am I gonna explain this when I get home?
2 hours later.
Huh? Oh no, baby, me and Bob were playing basketball and Bob dunked on me, was hanging on the rim, and his pants fell down. I was checking him close, I think he's swinging, and his butt cheeks might have, his butt cheeks, I think, caught my shirt. I don't know why I was playing ball in my dress shirt. I just was. It was midnight. I don't know. Just let me think. That's when you know a guy's lying if he say shit like that. Hold on, just let me think. The man ever say that to you? Hold on, just let me think for a minute. Can I think? I seen one crackhead trying to break into somebody's car, man, and it struck a chord with me. I tried to stop him. I said, hey! And he looked back and saw me and said, oh, keep an eye out. I said, that was me that said that. I'm trying to help you. I want this to stop. Crackheads are like that. I had a crackhead break my car window one time. Broke it! You know what he stole? Some candy bar I had lying on the seat. That's all he took. It's a goddamn candy bar. I was so mad. I drove around the neighborhood for 5 hours looking for a crackhead with chocolate on his face. I did that. I finally found when I grabbed it, motherfucker. I said, hey, man, what's all this chocolate on your face? He looked confused. Chocolate? This is doo-doo, baby. I said, oh, man. This place is insane. People only see the surface. They see the division in our foods. Just because I eat chicken and watermelon, they think that that's something wrong with me. Let me tell you something. If you don't like chicken or watermelon, something's wrong with you, motherfucker. There's something wrong with you. Where are all these people that don't like chicken and watermelon? I'm sick of hearing about how bad it is. It's great. The only reason these things are even an issue is because nobody knows what white people eat. You've been very good at keeping that shit a secret amongst yourselves. I study white people. Follow you around grocery stores. They freak out. I just try to peek in the cart. They always say, get away from my cart. What are you looking at? Chicken and giblets are over there. You must be lost. These are vegetables. I know what you drink. See how quiet I got? Grape juice. Surprise, motherfuckers, you didn't know I knew about grape juice, did you? Oh, don't play dumb with me. Look at what is it? A lot of black people don't have the privilege of knowing about grape juice because they have grape drink. It's not the same formula that you get. Ain't no vitamins in that. You might have one of your black friends over, Todd. Todd, would you care for a glass of grape juice? What? Hey, what the f is juice? I want some grape drink, baby. It's purple. I don't think I know what a grape drink is. What? I have some apple juice if you want. What the f is juice? I want some apple drink. Scream. Remember that commercial for Sunny Delight when all the kids run in from outside playing and they all run to the fridge? All right, I got some purple stuff, some Sunny D. As soon as you say Sunny D, all the kids go, yeah! Yeah, boy! Watch the black kid in the back. If you ever see that commercial again, look at that black kid. He'd be like, I want that purple stuff. That's drink, that is drink. They want drink. I want all them vitamins. I want drink. Sugar, water, purple. That's the ingredient. Sugar, water, and of course, purple. You know who I feel real bad for is Indians, because everybody thinks they're dead. These motherfuckers are not all dead, all right? With my own eyes, I've seen a gathering of 1,500 Native Americans. They were all gathered in one place. The place is called Walmart in New Mexico. There's Indians everywhere. I'd never seen Indians before. I wasn't even sure if they were Indians. It's fucked up, but I asked one of them. It's not nice, but I seen him in the sports section looking at bows and arrows. I had to say something. Oh, excuse me. I don't mean to be rude. Are you an Indian? And he was cool. Yes. Yes, I'm Indian. Still didn't believe him. I had to test him to be sure. This is fucked up. But I had a gum wrapper in my pocket, so I balled that shit up and I threw it on the floor. And a single tear came out his eye. I said, oh, shit. I had so many questions. So what tribe are you from? I am a Navajo. I said, word. I studied you in social studies. You're a hunter-gatherer, correct? He said, I guess so. If that's what you wish to call it. I said, why? What do you call it? He said, I am an alcoholic. I said, well, what's your name, dog? He said, please. Dog is my cousin. That was a good guess. My name is Running Coyote. What is your name, friend? And that shit caught me off guard. I mean, I didn't want to say my name was Dave to a motherfucker named Running Coyote. This don't feel good enough. He just put me on the spot. I said, huh? My name, what? Oh, my name's Blackfeet. Then I changed the subject. Forget about me. What's going on with you? I want to meet your chief. Why don't me, you, and your chief and your friends get together tonight? We could have a real live peace pipe smoking ritual. We need to celebrate. I thought you were dead. And he set it up. It was beautiful. It was just like I dreamed. We was all sitting around. Them Indians was beating the drum. Some other Indians came out the back with a long blanket that was folded in half and put in front of us. Opened that shit up, and on the blanket was a long wooden pipe with feathers. And bags of weed were all over the blanket. Chief walked over. The big ones are 50. The little ones are 25. And these are 10.
How old are you, young man? You. 24? You don't know shit. You don't know shit. You gotta Google shit that I lived through. See, this is why I lock motherfuckers' phones up. Seriously. Because the young kids, you guys, look, you need to take a break from that. We all need to break just from that technology, just for a minute. You know, I'm from a different time, young man, a dark time to you. I'm from a time that I didn't even used to know who was on the phone until I answered the shit. I remember I was 12 years old, and the teacher wheeled the television set into the classroom. And she turned it on to one of 3 channels. And she said, class, the space shuttle is taking off, and we're all gonna watch it take off. Man, that shit was going great for like 3 to 5 minutes. That's right, you remember, it fucking exploded. Right on television. Everybody on board. Dead. Immediately presumed dead. It was so bad the teacher looked at all the kids and was like, you can go home.
Bye, have a great time.
It's a damn national tragedy. This was Cold War America. The Russians were laughing at us. My point is, for a guy your age wouldn't even know the pain because in your generation, it's like the space shuttle blows up every fucking day. This is the age of spin. The age where nobody knows what the fuck they're even looking at.
Hello.
Did you know that Planned Parenthood was for abortions? It's for people that don't plan things out at all. That's right. So a guy your age doesn't really know how he feels. Are you pro-choice? Are you anti-consequences? What does it all really mean?
I am so confused.
It's easier not to care for you. But for us, we were trained to care. We were raised that way. I used to watch a fucking cartoon when I was growing up called the Care Bears. It was about a fucking group of teddy bear people. They were like teddy bears, but they were like people, and they were all different colors, and they all fucking just walked around caring. that cared about each other and everything else. They all had different designs on their stomachs, and the designs told you something about what they might be like inside. Very, very loving group of beings. And when shit got real bad, as nice as those teddy bears were, they didn't get mean faces, they got determined. And the leader would say, come on guys, it's time for the Care Bear Stare!
Bombastic sideline. Criminal offensive sideline.
And them little teddy bears would lock arms and stare at the problem. And I'm not even bullshitting. Actual love would shoot out of their chest and would dispel anything that was f***ed up. It burns! Oh! Oh! Oh!
I feel bad for teas, but they're so confusing. And it's not all my fault. I feel like they need to take some responsibility for my jokes. Because I didn't come up with this idea on my own. This idea that a person can be born in the wrong body. But they have to admit, that's a hilarious predicament. It's really fucking funny. And if it happened to me, you'd laugh, wouldn't you? That wouldn't be funny if it happened to me? I think it would be. What if it did? What if I was Chinese, but born in this nigga body? That's not funny. And for the rest of my life, I had to go around making that face. Hey, everybody, I'm Chinese!
That's racist!
What? This is how I feel inside. I know it's fucked up, but I tell you the truth. You know, everything's funny. Everything's funny till it happens to you. 3 months, a mere 3 months after that terrible attack that Chris Rock endured, I was on stage at the Hollywood Bowl, and a lunatic jumped out of the crowd and attacked me. Now, I gotta tell you, if it happens to you, you don't even know what the fuck is happening. It was like slow motion. I just looked over. I don't know this nigga. And I just looked and said, oh my God, I'm being attacked. And this motherfucker was ragged. He jumped at me. He was like, ah! I'm old, but I'm fast. I caught this motherfucker's head with my hand and pulled his hoodie over his eyes. I can still feel his head in my hand. It was spongy. He had been growing dreadlocks. Not the beautiful dreads that Rastafarians grow. These were accidental LA homeless dreads. This shit had leaves and sticks and bottle caps and shit in it. Some kind of grease. I was like, ugh, like this. And then I fell down. And he knocked me all the way on the ground. And I was like, man, this is a bad situation. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna die or what's gonna happen. But in that moment of vulnerability, you know what occurred to me that had never occurred to me before in my life? In that moment, it occurred to me that bodyguards should not wear dress shoes to work. Travis! This nigga Travis came out slipping and sliding on some kind of beautiful loafer and fell flat on his back. I said, oh my God. Now both of us are down. I gotta handle this shit myself. So I popped right back, boom. And then the kid that knocked me down, he popped out, boom, and we looked at each other and realized at the same time, I was bigger than him. And that motherfucker took off running. And I started to chase him and I said, fuck him. And I picked the microphone up. I said, I'm gonna finish this show now. That's right. For 3 months before that, I'd been making fun of Chris Rock. And people would ask me all the time. They'd say, Dave, what would you do if you were Chris Rock and Will Smith slapped you in the face? And to this day, the answer is the same. Well, I don't know what I would have done. I've never been in a situation that extreme. But I do know now what Will Smith would not have done. And that is enjoy the rest of his evening. Man, listen.
We gave that kid a good wall. We was whooping his ass. Not we, I mean, I was on stage trying to think of a joke to tell, but they was beating this nigga up right behind me. Everybody could see it. Everybody could see it. And I'm sitting up there trying to think of what to say. And I'm tongue-tied. Me, of all people, can't think of anything to say. Look at my karma. Just that moment. Of all the people in the world, Chris Rock walks from backstage, walks up to me in front of 20,000 people, grabs the mic out of my hands and looks at the crowd and goes, "Was that Will Smith?" Man, motherfuckers fell out of their chairs laughing. I was standing there looking stupid. I was fucking furious, because I'm thinking in my mind, nigga, this is my attack. You got attacked 3 months ago. Now you have jokes. So I snatched the mic back from Chris and tried to get one off, but my shit did not go good at all. I didn't know what to say. I was just like, it was a trans man. And the crowd was like, boo. It's LA, we like trans people, boo. I know, I felt so bad. I felt so bad. But I know why I did it. You'd have to be there to understand, but man, when that guy tackled me, it was like it's like a movie or something. You gotta picture this. Picture a famous person you like. Every famous person you could imagine was at that show. It was like the biggest night that Hollywood had ever seen. And when that guy tackled me, he cleared the bleachers. I had to watch the tape afterwards to know this happened, but as soon as he tackled me, Jamie Foxx was the first motherfucker that jumped out of the crowd. He was wearing a white cowboy hat like he knew this shit was gonna happen to him. Never seen this nigga in a cowboy hat before. And Jamie started chasing that motherfucker around like any given Sunday. And that kid was fast as shit, was juking and shaking, and he broke Jamie's ankles, and he just kept running. And then Jon Stewart from The Daily Show ran from backstage and jumped at this motherfucker like Super Jew. He was like, ah! And the kid seen Jon coming, so he jumped back, and Jon went flying that way. And this kid was fast, and then he turned around. He sees the emergency exit. He starts running for the emergency exit. Just before he got to the door, motherfucking Puff Daddy from Bad Boy Records jumped in front of the door. That nigga was like, Boy, Puffy got that motherfucker. And then every celebrity just ran out, because every celebrity saw themselves in me, and they just started beating the fuck out of that kid. And I know Chris was backstage looking like, nobody helped me. Everybody hates Chris. Look, it was way more intense than what you guys might have read. I don't know what you read, but the kid, while we was beating on him, reached in his waistband, pulled out a .22 caliber pistol. That shit was mayhem. Everybody started screaming, oh my God, he's got a gun. He's got a gun. And then I got scared. I was in the back, but I was scared, because I knew that everybody that was with me was armed. Yes, if they had shot and killed this kid on stage at the Hollywood Bowl, like I pay you to do, Travis, but Travis G'd up. Travis wrestled the gun out of the kid's hand, and then he took it like this and tried to chamber the round, and he couldn't. So he pulled the trigger, and it wasn't a gun. A knife blade popped out of the front. I guess this kid was gonna stab me. Some scary shit. So the next night, even though I didn't have a show, I said, I gotta get right back on stage. And I went and did a show. And someone in the audience screamed out, Dave, what happened with the attack? And I didn't know there was journalists in the room. All I said was that this nigga had a knife that identified as a gun. I got 6 more weeks of bad press for that joke. I didn't even do nothing to this nigga. That's not right. That was not right. And then the New York Post went to the jail and interviewed my attacker like he was some kind of hero.
And I read that interview. It turns out the entire attack was my fault. Yes, I triggered him. I didn't mean to. I had done jokes about the homeless. And turns out this young man was homeless. And I mean, there's no way I could have known this. But I will say, for a homeless guy, this nigga had incredible seats. Oh, and they said I triggered him because I had done LBGTQ jokes, and it turns out this fella was a bee. That was the headline in the article. It said, Dave Chappelle's alleged attacker is bisexual. I said, alleged attacker? This motherfucker definitely attacked me. I'll show you the tape. He's allegedly bisexual. I'm gonna need to see him suck somebody's dick before I believe the rest of this article. I read that shit in the paper. I was horrified. I was like, oh, bisexual? I could have been. No, you know what though? It's not funny because after all that madness ensued, I went to the hotel room. I was by myself and I opened the door and my wife was in there alone. She was sobbing, like sobbing. I said, oh my God, what's wrong with you, bitch? Did you get attacked too? And she's crying. She said, oh my God, David. She said, if you had died tonight, me and the kids would have nothing. Then I knew it was serious. So I sat down on the bed next to her. And I reached in my pocket, I pulled some keys out that she had never seen before. She said, what are those keys? And I gently placed them in her hands. I said, sweetheart, those are the keys to my safe deposit box. God forbid anything ever happen to me. But if it does, don't even worry about it. You and the kids have everything you need in that box. I've already taken care of it. And she was looking at them keys, and I could see her mind realize what we were actually talking about. And then she just started crying harder. And to be honest with you, that made me cry a little bit too. And we hugged each other real tight. Do you know this bitch looked in the box while I'm alive and well? Who does that? Oh my God. And then she was mad at me. She said, God damn it, David, I opened that box. I said, you did? She said, yes, I did. And there was nothing in there. I said, nothing? Oh. She said, nothing except your stupid joke book. I said, whoosh. I said, well, sweetie, look. If you tell those jokes exactly how they're written, you and the kids should be fine. They're really good jokes. She's like, good jokes? What is this shit? Come join me in my watery grave. No, you gotta roll your throat. Join me in my watery grave. You know what I said? That's all I said. First of all, I'll tell you right now what I said. And I will tell you that this was not a joke. It's a true story. And I just happened to tell it. All right, what happened was I went to a gallery party, all right? I don't know who in here has ever been rich before, but these are very nice parties. You know, wine and cheese and ball of conversation. And there was a few eccentric types, one of which was a very wealthy man that happened to be wearing a dress. I don't know what you call him now. It was a tranny or drag queen, perhaps. Whatever it was definitely a man. And this man was definitely on drugs. I don't know what kind of drugs he's on, but I knew he had too much. He didn't look good. It's like this. He's like, he looked sick.
and all his friends were standing around him, concerned, trying to revive him. I don't know what it looked like, some kind of gay CPR. There was fanning and shit. I saw all this from a distance. Now, I should have minded my own business, but I got curious. I was like, oh. And I went over there. All I said, excuse me, gentlemen, is he okay? And then they looked at me like I was evil. Oh. She is fine. I said, word? Oh. I'm sorry, I didn't know this is what we were doing. Here's my thing. I would support anybody's right to be whoever they feel like they are inside. I'm your ally in that. However, my question is, to what degree do I have to participate in your self-image? Is it fair that I have to change my whole pronoun game up for this motherfucker? That doesn't make sense. Seriously. If I put on an Argyle sweater and I'm like, hey everybody, I feel like a white guy in this sweater and I want some goddamn respect and a bank loan. That's not gonna work. Give a fuck how I feel. Why should I give a fuck how you feel? Nigger is a pronoun. But there was no time for philosophical debate. This was an emergency situation. I said, fine. Sorry, guys. I was just worried because she looks terrible. She just fell off the bench. Appears that her dick is popping out of her dress. You mind if I call an ambulance, champ? I'd rather not be at a party where a tranny ODs. There's too many questions to answer. Okay, I've been through this before. I had a friend from high school. Now, in high school, this guy was a thug, right? He was a fucking dope boy. He did it all. He's a wild dude. People used to be very scared of him. And then after high school, word on the street was he'd come out the closet. I personally didn't believe it. I bring him up because last year, he calls me out of the blue like, yo, what's up, man? I got your number from so-and-so, and I heard you're gonna be in New York doing a show. Could I get some tickets? I was like, fuck yeah, get some tickets, man. How you been? He said, well, we'll catch up at the show, man, but yo, I appreciate it. I'll see you soon. I said, all right, man, take care. And I was about to hang up, and I couldn't resist. I was just like, hey, nigga, I heard you was gay. What's going on with that? And I wish I didn't ask, because he sounded like he was dying to talk about that shit. And he had a long story about it. And it's not that I didn't care, but I was, I don't like talking on the phone. I was watching TV at the same time. So I just wasn't really paying attention like I should. But I was trying to sound supportive, but I didn't really know what to say. So I was just like mumbling shit throughout this conversation. I just be like, nigga, you gay, man. You just gay. Like, This went on for a while, and then finally I had to say something like definitive to get him off the phone. And I was like, hey, man, you know what? Don't let people get you down, all right? And the next time someone tries to make you feel bad about yourself, just remember, everybody fucks funny to somebody. He didn't like that shit. He's like, what the fuck does that mean? I said, huh? He said, you saying I fuck funny, motherfucker? I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying everybody's different. He said, you ain't say different, nigga. You say it funny. What's so fucking funny about the way I fuck? And I said, hey, man, I fuck feet. He said, what? Oh, this is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. I get women to squeeze their feet together like this, and I fuck them right in that little space in their feet. But you can't build a community behind that shit. There's no flag for us. That shit made him laugh. And the next day, after the show, I saw him backstage. He was like, yo, what's up, man? I'm like, oh, shit, what's going on? And he had his buddy with him. He goes, Dave, I want you to meet Manuel. Manuel's my fiance. We're in New York getting married because it's legal here. I said, well, congratulations, fellas. And Manuel was like, gracias. And he went to go get some drinks. And then my buddy looked at me, he was like, so Dave, what do you think? And I started mumbling again. You gay, nigga, you know, you just gay. He said, yeah, I'm a little nervous about getting married, man. It's a big step. I said, yeah, it is. It's a big step. He said, well, you've been married for a while. You got any advice for us? No, I'm married to a woman. Sorry about that. And they corrected me. He said, no, you married the person that you love. So it's essentially the same. I said, you know, man, the problem with that statement is that it makes the assumption that I love her. But you guys lighten the fuck up. Of course I love my wife. She laughs at this shit. As a matter of fact, she eats and spends this shit. You know what I told him? I told him, I said, you know what you should do, man? First of all, you shouldn't do it. I'm talking about being legally married. It's not that you're gay as much as just legal marriage is a fucking diabolical leverage game in the United States. I'm just being honest. Devoid of religious significance or the idea of love, marriage is nothing but an awful contract that you shouldn't sign. I'm just being real. Because you start out loving each other and then like 2 years later you're just building a case against one another for a hypothetical court date that may or may not ever happen. You throw being gay on top of that, that shit is explosive. Like I said, Ray Rice shit. Okay, right after Ray Rice went through all that shit, I was at a party and I met this kid, Michael Samms. You know Michael Samms? Very nice guy. He's the first openly gay NFL player. And Mike's a very nice guy, very brave guy. But when I met him, I couldn't help but thinking, now what's gonna happen when Michael Samms beats his wife up in the elevator? Is that domestic violence or is that just two niggas working shit out in the elevator? You know what I mean? Anyway, I give all married men the same advice, gay or straight. Get a dog. This dog will love you all the time, but she's not going to. It's real talk. I didn't even know about dogs, and my kids got the dog. They brought him home from the shelter, and I didn't even want him. They were like, can we keep him? I said, nope. I said, where'd you even get this dog? They're like, we got him from the shelter. I was like, ugh. Probably something wrong with him. Can't keep him. And then my kids started crying and screaming like the dog had gambling debts. Please, Dad, if you don't let us keep him, they're gonna kill him. I was like, oh. All right, you can keep him. And this dog was a menace. I hated his guts. Then one night I'd smoked a bunch of weed and I was eating a sandwich and Baba came over. Baba's the dog. He came over and was staring at me. This will make you very uncomfortable if you're just looking at you usually. I had to give him a piece of my sandwich so he'd go away. And that's how we became friends. Now, if you see me walking down the street with Baba, I ain't got no leash or nothing. He walks right next to me. If I stop, he'll stop. And if I go, he'll go. And all my friends are like, yo, Dave, that shit is dope. How you train Baba to do that shit? I've never trained Baba. I'm just a messy eater. If I drop food and Baba's not around, all I gotta do is call him. Baba! He's a black dude's dog, so he doesn't come right away. He peeks first to see what's going on. I gotta tap my foot so he can see the food. Over here, little buddy. And he's like, thanks. During the civil rights movement, I can't read what's on the teleprompter. Some about black America and white America. There's black Americans and there's white Americans. We're all one America. So if you don't mind, this is not live, is it? I imagine whatever I say, you could just edit it out. Let's try it a few ways. Lou, are you in the booth?
I am.
All right, good. You know what, Lou? Let's just play around with it and see if we can get it right and get this clip package on, and then let me go home. All right?
You got it.
All right.
Ready.
All right. Count me in.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wu-Tang. I'm just with you, Lou. Let's do it again.
We're gonna do it again. We'll get it right.
Here we go, Dave. 5, 4, 3, 2.
You know, when I was a comedian starting out in Washington, D.C., right here in this city, 1988, I'll never forget this. It was a comedy club owner that banned profanity from his comedy club. He said it offended his audience, and this was a cause of major concern for all the comedians in the circuit. And we all called a meeting, and we had the owners come, and it was the club owners, and it was the comedians. It was the classic labor dispute. The club owners laid out their case. There cannot be profanity in these clubs because that offends people. And there's a comedian who's still a good friend of mine to this day. He lives right here in Washington, D.C. He stood up and he said, he's black, I should tell you, because it's important to the story. He says, I use profanity because I live a profane lifestyle. He says, I don't have an insect infestation in my house. I have roaches. My favorite comedians are like musicians, and the audience is their instrument. And the music they make is your laughter. And that's the laughter that I scored my entire life to. So now, some of my favorite American comedic composers. Thank you.
When I lose my job, I lose my man. Treats me like a dog. He called me a dog. Yes, he did. What did he call me? An old dog. Sometimes I wished I was a dog and he was a tree.
When you stop and think, football's a fair sport for my people. Only sport in the world a Negro can chase a white man and 40,000 people stand up and cheer.
See, in my neighborhood, the kids have a kind of a dubious reaction to that whole Santa Claus concept. They just don't believe that a white man will ride a reindeer through Harlem after midnight.
In truth, white friend, it's you that all look alike. But look at the black people around you. We all different colors. Black walnut, burnt elk, almond, chocolate mocha, pecan, vanilla, yellow, mellow, light, bright, and damn near white.
We come from the first people on the earth. You know, the first people on the earth were black people. We the first people had thought, right? We was the first one to say,
where the am I? And how do you get to Detroit? I think maybe like 30 years ago, there was a woman that wanted to sing in there, a black lady that sang opera, that wanted to sing, what was her name? Mary Anderson, and this place was like segregated and they couldn't sing here. And here we are, like not even 50 years later, a 22-year-old black man on stage getting paid to hold his God bless America. I gotta go now. Y'all take it easy. Bye-bye.
It's been fucking wonderful. I don't know what to say, man. I don't even want this night to end. I promise you, whoever cares the most, I care at least as much as them. I know what I got, because I lost it all. I got to tell you something, and I don't talk about it often. Have you ever worked all your life for something and have it not work out? That happened to me. It was tough. Think about it. I was gone for 12 years. It's not a little bit of time. It was hell. I watched other niggas that I knew become very famous. I watched the world go on without me. I mourned the loss of it. And after a while, I didn't care. Coming back was terrifying. I understand what I am. I really do, more than anybody. Like when they write about me in history, I'll be dead reading it like, yeah, I knew they'd say that. They say that a person can't dream of a face they've never seen. Can't believe that's true, but it's probably true.
Boy, I got a long bank of faces. 32 years, I could close my eyes. I could think of any night. There's so many faces. Every night, most nights, they're all looking up, smiling. You have no idea what the world looks like from there. All different races, all different colors, all different kind of beliefs, just looking at me, smiling for 32 years, night after night. No comedian take that for granted. I swear to God, this might be the noblest of professions. Robin Williams had a bar that I loved. He said, comedy is the only job you can have where you can use everything you know. And that's true. You can use more than you know. You can use what you think. Use it. Don't be afraid. Don't let these bitch-ass niggas button your lip. Say it anyway.
I first became aware of Dave Chappelle right around before the first Nutty Professor, because I was supposed to play that role that he played. And then I kind of saw him, and I was like, hey, that guy, right, that kid would be funny playing that role.
I try to be peaceful, but now it's time for Reggie to karate-size your ass. Woo!
Dave is so much smarter than everyone. Like, Dave is one of the most, maybe the most intellectual comedian ever.
It took us 400 years to figure out as a people that white people's weakness the whole time was kneeling during their national anthem. That's a brittle spirit. That's right, nigga. On the rockets, regular.
What are you doing, nigga? Stand up!
He stretched the art form and his impact on the culture. He is the voice of his generation, without question. Nobody's even close to him.
That I gotta make, because none of this would have been possible on any level without this person. Is my mother. Mom. My mother. Mom. You have no idea what I put this woman through. If you had just given birth to me, that would have been more than enough. But the fact that you raised me and raised me well, we had a real oral tradition in our house. I knew the word griot when I was a little boy. A griot was a person in Africa who was charged with keeping the stories of the village. Everyone would tell a griot the stories, and they would remember them all so that they could tell future generations. And when they got old, they'd tell them to someone else. And they say in Africa, when a griot dies, it's like a library was burnt down. And my mother used to tell me, before I ever thought about doing comedy, she said, you should be a griot. And she'd fill me with every story of black life. You know, she's educated in African-American studies, and she would let me understand the context that I was being raised in, that I'm being raised in a hostile environment that I have to tame. By the time I was 14 years old, I was in nightclubs, mastering an adult world. It was terrifying. Crack epidemic was going on, and my mother would hear gunshots outside and be scared to death. Maybe it's my son. But early in my career, if you remember, Mom, you used to sit in the club with me. She'd do a full day of work. You'd be back there falling asleep, just waiting for me to go on. She would watch my show every night. Do you know how long that car ride is home? How many of you have ever heard your mother say, pussy jokes were a little too much tonight, son? I was a soft kid. I was sensitive, I'd cry easy, and I would be scared to fist fight. And my mother used to tell me this thing, I don't even know if you remember, but you said this to me more than once. You said, son, sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the lamb you really are. I talk this shit like a lion. I'm not afraid of any of you. When it comes word to word, I will gab with the best of them, just so I can chill and be me. And that's why I love my art form, because I understand every practitioner of it. Whether I agree with them or not, I know where they're coming from. They want to be heard. They got something to say. There's something they notice. They just want to be understood. Love this genre. It saved my life.
Okay, again, of all those letters, the T has the toughest road ahead. In fact, I think the T should stand for tough road ahead. They've got the longest mental gap to bridge. That's all I'm saying. Because, you know, whenever I see one of them T's on the street, I don't mind them, but I'll be like, man, I miss Bruce. I'm sorry, guys. I'm 42. I remember Bruce Jenner. Before the Kardashians, before all that, this motherfucker was a white American superhero. It was amazing. He was beating Africans at track and field. We'd never seen anything like it. He was on my cereal box growing up. You know how much of that cereal I ate, nigga? I didn't know he was gonna do that. I knew before you guys knew. I heard things on the street in Hollywood. You know, you just be out, see people. Hey, what's up, Kanye? Why the long face? Nigga, you'll see. I got 2 mother-in-laws now.
There was a big dance coming up in the middle school. I was 12 years old. I said, Dad, can I go to the dance? He said, of course you can go to the dance. I want you to get out and meet some more kids. I said, great. It costs $3 to get in. And my dad said, ooh, sorry, son, I don't have it. I was like, what the fuck? You don't have $3? Well, then how are we alive, Dad? Dad said, if you want to go to the dance bad enough, I'll tell you what, there's some money in the change jar, get the money from there. I was 12 years old. That's what I did. I showed up to the dance early. There's a long line of kids waiting behind me while I'm at the door trying to count out 300 pennies to get inside. I will never forget this shit as long as I fucking live. Oh, man, you know, if you've been poor, you know what that feels like. You ashamed all the time. Feels like it's your fault. And all them kids was laughing, ha, ha, ha. Look how poor Dave Chappelle is. Like, when I think back at it, that's really the only time in my life that I ever thought to myself, I should kill everybody at school.
No, this is what I mean. Okay, look, okay, you're an Asian dude. No, I say this with no disrespect, but we're all Americans, right? And we can agree that America has a huge body count all over the world, but nowhere more than Asia. Literally, if you look at history, recently, we have bombed the masculinity out of an entire continent. We dropped 2 atomic bombs on fucking Japan, and they've been drawing Hello Kitty and shit ever since. There's a lot of lady boys in the wake of our bombs, and I know these things because my wife is Asian. She's Filipino. All right, well, okay, so that explains it. Now you know why you see me at all those Filipino events. I'm not there picking up pussy, I'm dropping some off. I take my wife to all that shit. I took my wife to see Pacquiao fight Mayweather. We sat ringside, okay? That was a quiet car ride home. That's what that was.
Well, you ladies are right. To be honest with you, your lives look terrifying to me. They do, man. I know nothing about being a woman, but I know fear. Yo, I used to live in New York when I was 17, and I couldn't even pay my bills. You know what I did to make money? I used to do shows for drug dealers that wanted to clean their money up. One time I did a real good set, and these motherfuckers called me in the back room. They gave me $25,000 in cash. I was probably 18, 19 years old. I was scared. I thanked them profusely. I put that money in my backpack. I jumped on the subway and started heading towards Brooklyn at 1 o'clock in the morning. Never been that terrified in my life. Because I never in my life had something that somebody else would want. I thought to myself, Jesus Christ, if motherfuckers knew how much money I had in this backpack, they'd kill me for it. Then I thought, holy shit. What if I had a pussy on me all the time? That's what women are dealing with. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's real talk. If them same drug dealers gave me a pussy and said, put this in your backpack and take it to Brooklyn, I'd be like, nigga, I can't accept this. I empathize, man, you know. Everybody gets mad because I say these jokes. But you understand that this is the best time to say them. More now than ever. And I know there's some comedians in the back. Motherfucker, you have a responsibility to speak recklessly. Otherwise... New York Times said that Louis C.K. jizzed on his own stomach. You know, I've busted a lot of nuts in my day. None of them were newsworthy.
Shit was really gross, because they didn't just say it like I said it. They didn't just say jizz on the stomach. They said it in that fucking Pulitzer Prize winning style that the New York Times has. It was very descriptive, like, you know what I mean? Louis C.K.'s semen shot out like a volcano of misogyny, slowly drizzling down like lava, covering his freckled penis as it slowly dripped to a fiery crown of red hair. Jesus Christ, I'm trying to eat some huevos rancheros and these niggas is... And you know, the tough part, being a comedian, knowing the motherfuckers, everybody comes up to me like, did you know? Did you know what Louis was doing? No, bitch, I did not know. The fuck you think we talk about at the comedy club? Hey, nigga, how was the weekend? Great, man. I was just jerking off in faces and coming on my own stomach, having a good time. You know how this business is. No, I didn't know. They act like we sit around like Grease. Tell me more, tell me more. Then she put up a fight. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, I don't know the choreography, but you get the point. You get the point. She was intense. But Louis was like the turning point. I mean, you know, all these allegations are terrible. Louis was the only... I shouldn't say this, but fuck it. His allegation was the only one that made me, like, laugh. Well, if you think about it... Because all his friends is reading it, and he's jerking off, and he's surprising people. He's surprising me. I just picture all the comics in comedy just reading it like, what? It's terrible. I know it's terrible. I'm sorry, ladies. You're right. You are right. But at the same time, I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know. Jesus Christ, they took everything from Louis. I was like, I don't know, it might be disproportionate. I can't tell. I can't tell. This is like where it's hard to be a man. One lady said, Louis C.K. masturbating in front of me ruined my comedy dreams. Word? Well, then I dare say, madam, you may have never had a dream. Come on, man, that's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle-ass spirit, nigga. That shit is too much. This grown-ass woman. You know what this shit is like? It's like COINTELPRO. You know what that is? It's a program that the FBI had under J. Edgar Hoover. In this program, one of the many things they did was they would track the sexual habits of anyone they considered an enemy of the state. It was a lip button. That's why they got all these fucking sex tapes with Martin Luther King fucking bitches. But lucky for us, he actually had a dream. You think if Louis C.K. jerked off in front of Dr. King, he'd be like, I can't continue this movement. I'm sorry, but the freedom of black people must be stopped. I didn't know this nigga was gonna pull his dick out and jerk off like this. I just thought we were gonna get a couple of drinks and chill. Show business is just harder than that. Them women sounded like, I hate to say it, y'all, they sound weak. I know it sounds fucked up, I'm not supposed to say that, but one of these ladies was like, Louis C.K. was masturbating while I was on the phone with him. Bitch, you don't know how to hang up a phone? How the fuck are you going to survive in show business if this is an actual obstacle to your dreams? I know Louis is wrong, ma'am. I'm just saying I'm held to a higher standard of accountability than these women are. Don't forget who I am. Don't forget what I am. I am a black dude.
But I can't say the word faggot. And she said, because, David, you are not gay. I said, well, Renee, I'm not a nigger either.
But you see, what I didn't realize at the time and what Kevin had to learn the hard way is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset the alphabet people. You know who I mean. Those people that took 20% of the alphabet for themselves. I'd say the letters, but I don't want to conjure their anger. It's too late now. I'm talking about them L's and them B's and them G's and the T's. People be surprised. I have friends, all kinds of letters. Everybody loves me and I love everybody. I got friends who are L's, I got friends who are B's, and I got friends who are G's. But the T's hate my fucking guts. And I don't blame them. It's not their fault, it's mine. I can't stop telling jokes about these things. I don't want to write these jokes, but I just can't stop.
Yes, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Of course I did. I voted for her because I liked what she said vastly better than I liked what he said. But to be honest with you, at that point, that shit was like watching Darth Vader do the I Have a Dream speech. That bitch is mean as hell. She had already Karate Kid swept Bernie Sanders' legs from underneath him. Boy, it was hard voting for that shit. But it was the lesser of the evils. I know you were a Clinton supporter, Miss I. I'm sorry to say like that. It didn't feel bad voting for her, but it didn't feel as good as it should have. She was gonna be our first woman president. They were gonna make coins out of this bitch. And somehow she just missed the dunk. Of course she should have beat him. Of course she should have beat him. You know what voting for her felt like? It was bittersweet. It felt like I was lucky enough to eat Halle Berry's pussy. And whilst I was doing so, she fucking farted in my face, man. Now you understand, I'd still do it. But boy, I wish she didn't fart in this great nation's face. I voted that day, and then that same day I flew to New York City. I had work. That night I was in a comedy club in New York, and I said to an audience almost exactly what I just said to you. And I didn't know that there was a journalist in the room. And this journalist wrote an article. The headline of the article said, Dave Chappelle is an avid Donald Trump supporter. Yeah, I had no idea the paper said that. And you know how I found out? My wife called me from Ohio the next morning in a goddamn panic. David, what the fuck is going on in New York? I said, I'm being good, but what have you heard? And my wife said, the paper is saying that you're a Donald Trump supporter. I was like, whew. I said, don't worry about that shit, baby. Nobody in their right mind would believe that. And she said, no, David, people believe it. And then she started reading the comments to me. Oh, they were terrible. All these black people calling me all kinds of Uncle Toms and shit. I should tell you, buddy, this is a very serious allegation from one black to another. I was incensed. Uncle Tom? How am I Uncle Tom, nigga? You the one that reads The Observer? Anyway, all this shit goes down, and Saturday night rolls around, and now Trump is the president, and I'm hosting Saturday Night Live. And I didn't really prepare my monologue, I just kind of winged it. And at the end of the monologue, I don't even remember what I said. I said something like, you know, fuck it, like we're historically disenfranchised and we're gonna give him, something about we're gonna give him a chance if he gives us a chance. I don't know what I said, but whatever I said, I really wish I didn't say that shit. It was not worth the trouble. Now I walk into the barber shop and all them black people just be looking at me like, yo, Dave, what's up with your boy? Yo, nigga, yo! Not my boy. Because I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, if you support him or not, any objective person is gonna have to admit that this motherfucker is having a terrible go of it. It really is. We've had presidents before that have done bad jobs, but this shit is worse than a bad job. It's scary to watch. Holy shit, it's like seeing a crack pipe in your Uber driver's passenger seat. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Hey, if you do anything wrong in your life, and I find out about it, I'm gonna try to take everything away from you. And I don't care when I find out. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now. If I find out, you're fucking finished. Who's that? That's you. That's what the audience sounds like to me. That's why I don't be coming out doing comedy all the time, because y'all niggas is the worst motherfuckers I've ever tried to entertain in my fucking life.
Are you surprised, though, by the criticism that's come your way?
No. And I don't mind that people get upset. Some of this criticism, like, is helpful. Like, I get educated by it. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but I learn about a lot of things. You know, just from my... I swear to God, this might be the noblest of professions. Robin Williams had a bar that I loved. He said, comedy is the only job you can have where you can use everything you know. And that's true. You can use more than you know. You can use what you think. Use it. Don't be afraid. Don't let these bitch-ass niggas button your lip. Say it anyway. It took us 400 years to figure out as a people that white people's weakness the whole time was kneeling during their national anthem. That's a brittle spirit. That's right, nigga. On the rock, it's regular. Ah! Ah! What are you doing, nigga? Stand up!
Comedy. Bad things happen to someone else. That's not necessarily funny.
Look at it this way. I grew up in the crack epidemic. I tell jokes about it. I grew up in the crack epidemic, and now there's an opioid epidemic. Are they treating the opioid epidemic the way that they treated the crack epidemic? No, this is a national health emergency. When we were coming up, we were policed by the National Guard, addicts were criminals. Now they understand addicts are sick people, and maybe it's because the demographic of the opioid epidemic is not the same demographic of the crack epidemic.
Racially. I mean, you're talking about race.
Right, so now that your community is getting destroyed, it's a whole nother ball game. And then it's a huge window of empathy. Oh my God, we can see each other. We both went through similar pain. But I'm just saying everything's funny that happens to you is more about empathy. That you there but for the grace. You guys gotta remember, I'm not saying it to be mean. I'm saying it because it's funny. And everything's funny till it happens to you. I'm not afraid of other people's freedom of expression. I don't use it as a weapon. It just makes me feel better. And I'm sorry if I hurt anybody, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. Everything I'm supposed to. But there's a more important reason that I would stop doing comedy right now. And this reason is the real reason that's been percolating, and it really is the crowd, not you. I'm talking about the crowd on the big stage.
It's too hard to entertain a country whose ears are so brittle. Motherfuckers are so sensitive, the whole country is turned into bitch-ass niggas. Everything you say upsets somebody. You know, I can remember when it all started. It was when I was doing Chappelle show. When I was doing Chappelle show,
I used to do this show, and then on the weekends I do like concerts and shit like that. So I'm doing a concert, and there was a couple in the front row, beautiful couple. The wife was obviously Asian. You could see it in her face. The husband,
this motherfucker was mysterious, to say the least. Couldn't quite pinpoint where he was from. Caramel-colored fella, very nice hair, but he could have been from anywhere. Bangladesh, Mexico. I can't guess with a nigga like this. All I knew for sure about this guy is that his wife was a bitch. I could see that in her face, too. No, he was laughing and having a good time, and she was scowling at me at a goddamn comedy show. I couldn't figure it out. And then I realized at some point that she was pregnant, and I was smoking on stage. I said, oh my God, that's probably why she's mad. So I started to put my cigarette out, but then she hit me with one of them fake non-smoker calls. So I just kept smoking. I thought to myself, bitch, that baby will be fine, relax.
and I tried to break the tension. I just asked her, that's all I said. I go, hey, where are you guys from anyway? And I could tell that she was on to me. She goes, very condescendingly, she says, I'm from California. If you're asking my ethnicity, I am Chinese. And her husband was just cool about the shit. He was like, I'm Mexican, bro. I said, well, I'm sorry if I offended you by asking.
But you're a very beautiful couple. And miss, there's no question that you're going to give birth to the hardest working baby this world has ever seen. That's not a bad joke. She got very upset. She got up to leave immediately. But she didn't just leave. She had to take one last dig at me on the way out. I will never buy one of your fucking DVDs again, Dave Chappelle.
I said, ma'am, with all due respect, Chinese people don't buy DVDs. And the crowd went crazy. We were all laughing, having a good time. I didn't even think anything of it. And then just 3 days later, this lady sends a fucking letter to my promoter telling him not to book me for shows anymore
because I was, quote, racist, and I'm quoting her, insensitive to the nature of my interracial marriage. I was like, word, bitch, I was. If she had just done a little bit of research, she would know that I myself am in an interracial marriage. That's right. In fact, my wife is Asian too. Surprise, bitch, I'll see you on Thanksgiving. But my wife's not Chinese. She's Filipino. That's right. And our kids are Puerto Rican somehow, so there you go. But I don't give a fuck about interracial marriage. In fact, you know what? My mother is half white.
A lot of people don't know that. Well, all right, you were a little too excited, but okay. A lot of people don't believe me when I say that, but it's true. You can't tell looking at me, but if I grew my hair out, you would think you was at a fucking Cat Williams concert. My shit is beautiful. But motherfuckers are just taking it too far. I don't know why or how everybody got this goddamn sensitive. You know who hates me the most? The transgender community. It's been said in the press that I was invited to speak to the transgender employees at Netflix, and I refuse. That is not true. If they had invited me, I would have accepted it, although I am confused about what we are speaking about. I said what I said, and boy, I heard what you said. My God, how could I not? You said you want a safe working environment at Netflix. Well, it seems like I'm the only one that can't go to the office anymore. I want everyone in this audience to know that even though the media frames this, that it's me versus that community, that is not what it is. Do not blame the LGBTQ community for any of this shit. This has nothing to do with them. It's about corporate interests and what I can say and what I cannot say. For the record, and I need you to know this, everyone I know from that community has been nothing but loving and supporting. So I don't know what all this nonsense is about. In summer 2020, when the whole world shut down, I was outside doing shows. My neighbor had a cornfield, and he let me throw shows there, and people came from all over the country. Some people came from around the world to see those shows. The best comedians on earth came to my home and broke bread with me. And we lived our lives. We found a way to keep moving forward. I made a whole documentary about it. The first night of those shows was a piece that some of you might have seen. It was called 846, and it dealt with the murder of George Floyd. This film that I made was invited to every film festival in the United States, and some of those invitations I accepted. And when this controversy came out about the closer, they began disinviting me from these film festivals. And now, today, not a film company, not a movie studio, not a film festival, nobody will touch this film. Thank God for Ted Sarandos at Netflix. He's the only one that didn't cancel me yet. To the transgender community, I am more than willing to give you an audience, but you will not summon me. I am not bending to anybody's demands. And if you want to meet with me, I'd be more than willing to, but I have some conditions. First of all, you cannot come if you have not watched my special from beginning to end. You must come to a place of my choosing and a time of my choosing. And thirdly, you must admit that Hannah Gadsby is not funny. I desperately want people to see this movie. But I understand why investors would be nervous. Since nobody will touch it, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will make it available for all of you in 10 American cities, going on sale in the next few days. You will be able to see this movie in its entirety, and you can see what they're trying to obstruct you from seeing. And you can judge for yourself, but you cannot have this conversation and exclude my voice from it. That is only fair. You have to answer the question, am I canceled or not? Then let's go. Thank you very much and good night.